counterparts in the corporate state matrix, actions by revolutionary environmentalists, even by the state's admission, have resulted in no physical harm to any human or non-human animal. The monkey-wrenching tactics of these groups are aimed at tools of actual violence, employed for the purpose of corporate profit. Henry David Thoreau, in his famous pamphlet, Civil Disobedience, urged readers to live by principle. And if circumstances require us to be agents of injustice, then, Thoreau said, break the law. Let your life be a counter-friction to stop the machine. Western technological culture and its unfolding through the capitalist world economy is a systematic assault on the earth. In defense of life, revolutionary environmentalists counter the assault on the ground at the points of destruction. This is their story.
How long have these nonprofit organizations been raking in our tax deductible donations? You know, they've getting these photographs flashed in front of us, they're reading off statistics. How long has that been going on? And when we get upset about these issues that they're raising, you know, they have the solution. Hold a sign. Hold our sign. Make a donation. It's tax deductible. God damn, you know, this movement doesn't need any more signposts. You know, I'm not a human signpost. You know, this movement doesn't need any more donations. You know, not when the donation comes at the expense of the people who are signing that check, feeling like they did their part for the struggle, for the year. That's a joke. You know, what this movement needs is a little blood, sweat, and tears. You know, what this movement needs is a little dedication, a little sincerity, a little heart and soul, things that aren't for sale, things that you can't buy. See, that's the whole concept. That's this big lie that the overall, even movement, even the environmental movement is selling to us. The big lie that they sell through their nonprofit businesses is that you can buy these types of things. You know, revolutionary change isn't for sale. You can't buy revolution. It's not for sale. You have to make it.
You show up at the Sierra Club and you say, I want to help, and they're like, great, go door to door and canvass for us and try to raise money for us, and people don't feel like they're saving the forest. But when you come up to a blockade and you stand in between the forest you want to protect and the people who want to cut it, and you say, no, enough, you're not cutting past us today. That person feels like they did something, and they did do something to save the forest. It's more empowering.
And still you don't stop the destruction. There's a point where you have to party in between those who are trying to destroy it and what it is that you want to have saved.
Stay back. What the fuck was that, Carl?
Well, the environmental movement is really not about groups or organizations. It's about ideas. And these ideas will evolve and change. And I personally have no use for large institutionalized environmental organizations. I think they're more of a problem than a help. They're just eco-bureaucracies, and many of them, like and you know, I won't name any because I don't like to badmouth organizations, except for one, which I feel that I can, and that's Greenpeace. And the reason I can criticize Greenpeace is I am a co-creator of Greenpeace, and therefore I feel like Dr. Frankenstein sometimes, and I feel that since I helped create the thing, I can certainly criticize it. And I think that Greenpeace has become the world's biggest feel-good organization now. People join it to feel good, to feel I'm part of the solution, I'm not part of the problem. Greenpeace brings in close to $300 million a year. And what do they do with that money? Generate more money. And the people who are at the top of the totem pole now are not environmentalists. They're fundraisers, they're accountants, they're lawyers, they're business people. And so therefore it's not strange to me when people tell me that, oh, you know, that the former president of Greenpeace now works for the logging industry of Canada. That's in Canada. The former president of Greenpeace Australia now works for the mining industry. The former president of Greenpeace Norway works for the whaling industry. See, because it's just one corporate job to the next. You no longer have the passion. The passion that is needed in the environmental movement comes from small groups, and it comes from individuals.
Well, I started writing letters and signing petitions and sending money to Sea Shepherd when I was 12 years old. And as soon as I graduated from high school when I was 17, I joined Sea Shepherd. And when I was 19, I carried out my first independent action against the Icelandic whaling fleet, where we sunk 2 of their ships and disabled their whaling station. And people have always responded with surprise at how young I was coming into this. But being an indigenous person and knowing my history, it's not uncommon. This is the role of young people. Warriors are the young men, young women of our society. It is their job because they do not have dependents. They do not have their own children, their own family. It's their job to protect their larger family.
If I knew I had a fatal disease, I would definitely do something like strap dynamite on myself and take out Glen Canyon Dam, or maybe the Maxam building in Los Angeles after it's closed up for the night.
Maxam is the name of the company cutting down most of the old redwoods in Northern California, like this one, which was over 1,000 years old. The point of these statements, Earth Firsters say, is to make people wake up to the crisis.
We want people to have the jitters. They ought to have the jitters. The planet is being killed by corporations right now. And if people don't get the jitters, then something is seriously wrong with the human species.
Being a warrior means taking